Well, YouTube, I know this is a very long and overdue video, but wanted to do a kind of sort of family update on the cars. So without any further ado, we'll go ahead and get started, and since the Mustang is first and here in the way, we'll go ahead and start with it. Still really liking this car. I've put, oh gosh, going on 4,000 miles on it in 6 weeks. I've done a couple road trips in it, and it does really well on the highway. Turn the AC down. It's got 32,000. It's gonna be pissy. 32,652.4 miles on it. Bought it with 29,200, give or take just a tiny bit. Gets about 200 to 250 miles on a tank. I filled it up just a little bit earlier, and it's doing okay. Fuel economy, I average about 16-ish in town and about 23, 24 on the highway. Interior's fine, just really dirty right now. All of our cars are dirty, so please excuse that. Nothing really to report with the inside. I haven't done anything to the inside. Go ahead and open up the hood on it. I'll roll the window down too, just in case it decides to be an old cranky Ford, as it does sometimes. Tires, still doing as old tires do. I think I've got an alignment issue. These are just, they're awful tires. Probably going to be replacing these over the Christmas holidays or something like that. Outside's really dirty. I had the front brake rotors turned. They couldn't turn the rear rotors because they are pretty much shot. They're still bumping a little bit, so I know I need new brakes. You can see there's just crap all over it. Actually came back from a road trip this weekend and haven't cleaned it up since. But we'll go ahead and check out under the hood. Of course, you've got your lovely East Texas bugs all over the front. Those come free of charge when you live in East Texas. Here is your beloved 3-valve GT motor, 4.6 liter single overhead cam V8. I believe it's single overhead cam, I don't know. 4.6 liter modular V8. This is the 3-valve that everybody loves to hate on. I love the motor. Makes 300 horsepower, 330 pound-feet of torque. I think it may be a little bit underrated. I did put a K&N drop-in filter in it because the stock air filter was completely clogged. The car was probably breathing through a straw. Close the hood just like that. Just Mustang things. Like I said, tires are not doing well. Those will need to be replaced soon. The door handles are getting worse. I think I mentioned this in one of my previous videos. The passenger side one's actually worse than the driver's side. This one will still go sort of flush, but not really. Still haven't done anything to the exhaust. That'll be a while. I want to do the Bassani axle back on it, and that's like $500 that I don't have right now. However, I did do a ducktail spoiler on it. This is a 3D carbon spoiler. Had it painted and mounted, and looks really good. It's actually 3 separate pieces. You have 1, 2, and then your little third piece on the side. And I also did a blackout panel between the rear tail lights. I think it looks really good too. Absolutely, just kind of finished the rear end of the car off nicely. I almost went with the regular GT spoiler, but everybody was like, no, don't do that, you need to get the ducktail because it looks way less ricey, blah blah blah. So I went with the ducktail, and I'm really glad I did. It looks really good. Of course, stock exhaust still sounds pretty good, just a little quiet for my taste. The only thing that I will complain about is the acrylic on this panel is kind of rubbing on the bumper, but it's not that big of a deal. I don't really care. This center cap is missing. This tire was actually replaced right before I bought the car, and the douche canoes who did it broke the center cap and kind of jerry-rigged it back together on there, and it fell off when I was in the process of rotating my tires and can't get it back on. But as you can see, this door handle is getting pretty bad. This one won't sit flush at all, and that's where it usually sits. Still opens the door, but before long I'll probably be replacing door handles on this car. Just another expense. Yay. I did make my own little shorty antenna. Basically what I did, took the stock antenna off, cut this one down with a grinding wheel, and then put the ball back on the top, and it looks fine and hasn't given me any trouble. Free mod, for those of you who are wondering, on the 3 valves and basically the 05 to 09 Mustangs. 17 inches is the length you want to go with from the bottom of this base right here. Really easy to do. Really glad I did that. It looks way less janky than the truck antenna. But yeah, it's just pretty much it for the Mustang. It's doing really well. Still loving it. Fuel economy is a little bit painful, but it's whatever. Not that big of a deal. It's worth it to have a reliable car that works. Really enjoying it. I hate the door chime in this car though. It sounds so cheap and tacky. At least in my humble opinion, it does. And so next we will move on to the Fusion. So moving on to the Fusion, for those of you who don't know, this is my old 2013 Ford Fusion Titanium front-wheel drive EcoBoost. Got rid of this, or trying to get rid of this, because it has problems. No, the car hasn't sold yet. Please, for the love of God, stop asking. I will be sure and let you know when it sells and what replaces it. This will probably be used as a trade-in on a car for my brother who will be turning 16 in December. But that's besides the point. And also, for those of you who didn't know, this is my 2007 Ford Mustang GT Premium that I got 6 weeks ago. As you can see, the Fusion's absolutely disgusting right now. It's been sitting outside for 6 weeks. It's been driven maybe 4 or 5 times in those 6 weeks. Go ahead and remote start it. Tiny bit slow to start. This alternator hasn't been keeping the battery charged, which is understandable. Of course, you have your remote key access. Completely emptied out the Fusion. There's really nothing left of mine in here. I put it all either back in the house or in the Mustang. And then to power it on, put on brake and hit the engine start button. Get your dinky little Ford chime. Actually, I like this chime. It's pretty nice. 38,863.6 miles on it. Long story short, the reason I decided to get rid of this car is because it's having trouble with the fuel system. They can't figure out what it is. They claim it's fixed, but it's not. It's still doing the same thing over and over and over. And we just got tired of it and decided to replace it with something more reliable, hence Mustang. So yeah, this will probably be used as a trade-in on something for my brother. Clean off the windshield real quick. He's looking at something like a 2010 Mustang GT. That's kind of what he thinks he wants. I think it'll be a good car for him. Not ridiculously fast, not overly powerful, but still fun, and will teach him to be a good driver. My Ford Touch, it works sometimes. I never really had that much trouble with it until recently, and sometimes it just wouldn't turn on. Of course, you have your wonderful 6-speed automatic transmission, and it was having troubles. I think the clutch plates may be starting to go on it. I know that's a pretty common issue. Still shifts just fine, but once you get it moving, the shifts are not bueno. Go ahead and walk you around the outside of the car and open up the hood. Hood latch was a little sticky. Again, car hasn't been driven in probably 2 weeks, I think, something like that. I'm sure the tire pressures are slightly low. Yeah, you can see the car's just disgusting. But what you're looking at, Ford's 2-liter EcoBoost inline 4-cylinder, 240 horsepower, 270 pound-feet of torque. And it certainly does not make that to the wheels at all. Pretty dirty under here right now. Haven't really ever bothered to clean it. Steeda strut tower brace up there. Also has the Steeda rear sway bar on it. Probably just going to sell it with both those things on there. It's a pain in the butt to get the sway bar off, especially. Front end, I did do the license plate delete. Basically just drilled out the mount. Never really did patch up the holes as I intended to, because in the process of that, this came along. It's got its fair share of rock chips. Pretty much about 75% of the miles on this car are highway miles, so it looks as a highway mile car does. Of course, turn signal mirrors, blind spot warning. Still a really nice car, and part of me is going to miss this thing a whole lot. It still drives really, really well. It was a good car to own. It just was never the most reliable thing. And I got fed up with it. Now that it's out of warranty, I'm out of pocket every time something goes wrong, and that's no bueno. Of course, you can see where my stupid muffler delete did end up melting the rear bumper. Kind of pissed about that, but not really much I can do. Mike could order a new valance from Ford, but that's like $400 and not really $400 I want to spend. Can see your LED reverse lights in there. Back end is still pretty good. Of course, you can see where it did get backed into in the Blend parking lot last year. Won't go into any further detail about that, except it really irritated me. Trunk in these cars is absolutely massive. Really good storage space in these. There's the front plate right up there, full of rock chips. Spare tire down here. It is filthy. It has been on the ground. For those of you who know, bent a rim, popped a tire. It's been on the ground a couple of times. The paint just feels absolutely nasty right now, but with a wash it would be back to normal. I put a fresh coat of wax on it probably about 2 weeks before I got rid of it, or before I stopped driving it, I guess. But anyways, that's really pretty much it for the Fusion. I will do a final farewell video of this. I know everybody and their dog has been asking for it, so I'll do it. And you can probably expect to see that sometime this weekend. Go ahead and shut this down. Of course, you get your Ford chime and the seat goes backwards. But I will miss this car. I mean, it was a really good car to me for 2.5 years. Pretty much, actually 2 years and 7 months, almost to the day. I think it was 2 years, 7 months, and 1 day that I had this car. Really good car. Absolutely love the way they look still. I just wish it would have behaved better. If it would have behaved better, I wouldn't have gotten rid of it. But now we'll move on to the 2015 Range Rover Sport HSE 3-liter supercharged V6. It's pretty dirty too. It's got some bugs on it and some dust. It's doing really well. One thing we have noticed is the giant brakes make giant brake dust. Not really much you can do there except clean them over and over, and that gets to be a pain in the butt because these wheels aren't very fun to wash. Big giant heavy doors on this car. I know these things are expensive, but you really do get what you pay for with these. They're really nice cars, really solid too. Of course, foot on the brake, hit the engine start button, get your gauge sweep. Like I said, 3-liter supercharged V6, and interior's dusty. I mean, I just washed this car like 3 weeks ago, and it's already this dirty again. I need to wash it again. I will probably sometime this week. 5,045 miles on it, and we've had it for about 6 to 7 months. It was the last week of spring break, so pretty much the last week of March is when we got it. Really enjoyed it. It's a really nice car. The driving inputs are really touchy, so very minor throttle input equals very large output. Same with the steering and the brakes. Gee, shut up. This infotainment system sucks, same as it did in the Jaguar. I'll go ahead and say it. Do not like it. It is slow as Christmas. Not our favorite thing about this car at all. Not really sure why they made the glove box release right up there, or all the way up there, but they did. Mom, keep your sunglasses in the cup holder. Sometimes they're up here. It just kind of depends. 8-speed ZF automatic. Really good transmission. Absolutely phenomenal. Of course, you get your janky rear backup camera. You can see how fuzzy that is. You can kind of make out shapes. There's a pile of rocks and there's the fence. But that's pretty much all you can tell. It does have proximity beeping too, or whatever, proximity sensors. Here's your off-road controller. Haven't taken it off-road. It's pretty much a pavement princess, sadly. I'd love for us to take it on an off-road trip, but we have not done that yet. Maybe next summer we can do something with it. But yeah, really good transmission. Shifts really, really well. We'll go ahead and open up the hood on this one. Stay. Just pull that little lever right there. Really easy to do. Again, it's dirty. One thing I really love about this car is the interior color. It's so unique. And the panoramic sunroof too is great. But really pretty interior color. Heated and cooled seats work really well. And I really like the Land Rover badge, or the Range Rover Sport badge right up there. It's kind of like their little mark of excellence, I guess. Haven't opened the hood on this and I don't even know how long, so forgive me if it takes me a second. There's the latch. Of course, this one is supported by struts, which the Fusion and Mustang are not. 3-liter supercharged V6, 340 horsepower. and 332 pound-feet of torque. It moves the car out pretty well. It could do to be a tiny bit quicker, but I mean, you have this or you have the 510 horsepower V8, and that's a big difference. Obviously, for cost reasons, we opted to go with the V6. You can hear the supercharger pretty well with the hood open. I'll go ahead and give it a quick rev and stick the camera outside. Yeah, you can kind of hear it. Supercharger's pretty quiet. I'm sure there's some sound deadening for it in there. I wish there wasn't, but not really much you can do about that. Dual hood latches, I actually just now noticed that, believe it or not. And of course you've got dirty nonsense up under here, but what are you gonna do? I'm not really gonna clean that. Really like the way this car looks still. Still looks really good. I love the way the 22-inch rims look. I hate the way they are to clean. They're a giant pain in the butt, emphasis on the giant. Of course, you can see the brake dust everywhere. But really like this car. It's been a great car to us. The only issue we're having with it at the moment, and this is the only issue we have had with it, is somewhere back up in here. When you're driving down the road, you can hear kind of a popping sound, which is really strange. I think there's a recall out on it and stuff like that, so we'll probably take it to Dallas in a couple weeks, have them look at that. If we get a loaner that's different than an Evoque, I'll try and film it if I can, but we'll see. Still a really good looking car all the way around. Love the chrome polished dual exhaust tips on it. It's definitely a head turner for sure. I'm really glad it has the black top on it with the white body panels. Not really much to report with the Range Rover either, aside from the creaking thing and it being really dirty. So we'll go ahead and shut it down and move on to our 2011 Ford F-150 Platinum EcoBoost 4x4. If that's not a mouthful, I don't know what is. For once, this truck is actually kind of clean. There's some bugs and stuff on it here and there. But I cleaned it last Thursday evening, and today is the following Tuesday. I mean, it looks fine. It's got its fair share of rock chips. You can see this is a highway truck. This is my dad's work truck, and it just gets a lot of highway miles and gets a lot of highway rock chips. There's one there, there's one over here. The grill has some pits in it. I've actually seen these painted up body color on some F-150 pages that I'm on. They'll do different designs with the paint, and they look fantastic on these trucks once you get them painted up. You see a pretty nice rock chip right there. They are kind of starting to rust out, which concerns me a tiny bit, but it's still doing really well. We'll go ahead, hop in, start this one up. This one has remote start too, but I'm just not gonna do it because I don't want to mess with it. Of course, power folding running boards, which are great up until the moment that they come out onto your shin, and then they make you want to curse. But other than that, they're great. Of course, insert your key. 72,077.0 miles. And you get your Build Ford Tough display on there. Averaging about 16.6 miles per gallon. I'll pause that so it doesn't mess with it in the idle when I'm filming. Still doing really well. Needs a new set of wiper blades. We have had the windshield replaced on this one because it got a pretty bad rock chip in it that kind of started to spread. But it's doing really well. Not really a lot to report on this thing. This has just been a trooper for us. It's really good truck. It's been on three summer road trips with us. So that's where a decent amount of the miles came from. Go ahead and open up the hood here. But it's just a really good truck. I'm not a huge fan of the EcoBoost engine personally because it doesn't get the gas mileage that they say it does, and it does not get the but it certainly has the power, but it doesn't have the sound, and I like the sound. but I'm also old school. Holy cow, this is dirty. I haven't looked up under here in a long time. Of course, 3.5 liter twin turbo V6 EcoBoost. It has 365 horsepower and 420 pound-feet of torque, and I believe every bit of those numbers this truck hauls. It's about a 6.5 second to 60, and that doesn't sound that fast, but when you consider how big this thing is, it's a fast truck. I know there's people who have these tuned up and stuff making ridiculous numbers. Ours is all bone stock. I think it has a K&N drop-in filter in it. It does have the leveling kit on it. Looks really good. This one has the Firestone Destination all-terrain tires on it, which need to be replaced here before long. Will not be getting these tires again. We've had problem after problem after problem with these tires. Having ones that won't balance out because they're out of round and stuff like that. It's really frustrating. I think that one is really badly out of round because when you're going down the highway, this thing just shakes like a leaf. Of course, you have your EcoBoost badge, and you have your derpy sideways license plate over here. Not a huge fan of that. I like how they did fix that on the 2015s. This truck probably won't be going anywhere for a while. It's just been so good to us, why get rid of it? Of course, you have your intercooler right there. I think that might be the trans cooler, I'm not sure. But ticking away just perfectly. Pretty much all you hear is the direct injection click, and that's it. This thing is a bug killer because it's a highway truck. You get a lot of bugs in here. It's nasty. Every once in a while I'll clean out in there, but I don't do it very much. Chrome polished exhaust tip has kind of lost some of its chromeness. Just with this tire throwing crap up at it, it just kind of takes its toll on it. Rear suspension does have some creaks in it. It's done that for quite a while, but it's not that big of a deal. After it got rear-ended, of course we had it fixed, and it looks okay. Tailgate doesn't quite line up. You can see the big wide gap over here as opposed to the small one over there. Of course, they had to replace the rear bumper. It doesn't have the rock shields on it, so this has some rock chips in it. But you can see what I mean about the tires. I mean, they just, before long, they'll need to be replaced. But it has its fair share of miles on it, so that's what you expect. You can see the bed doesn't line up completely perfectly over here, but never really have any issues out of it. It's just fine. This truck has, like I said, it's been a great truck to us. I'd recommend one to anybody. I wouldn't buy the EcoBoost. That's just me. I like the sound of the V8. I know you take a power loss, but I just like the more natural feeling of a non-turbocharged engine. Again, personal preference, but these are fantastic trucks, and I would certainly recommend one to anybody. After we had the issue with the condensation building up in the intake area fixed, we haven't had any more trouble out of this truck. I know a lot of people are saying they're having trouble out of them. Not really sure where that's coming from. I'll do a quick rev on this one, see if I can get some blow off noise. Turbos on this one have seemed to get louder as it gets older. Doesn't really want to do it. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. But the interior is holding up really well. This seat right here has 70,000 miles worth of butt sliding in and out on it. It's a tiny bit shiny, but not bad. Probably just need to hit it with some cleaner and it'll be fine. You can see getting a tiny bit shiny right here, but no creaks or no creases, no cracks, no tears or anything like that. Same with the shifter. Center console looks great too. Steering wheel, again, a tiny bit shiny, just probably need to clean that up, and it'll be good to go for another 70,000 miles, I'm sure. Just haven't gotten around to doing that. I need to clean out the inside of this truck pretty badly, but just haven't had time with school and traveling and stuff like that. Back seat, we really like the massive back seat on this thing. Dad uses it to keep all his work crap in here, and it's great legroom wise, but the seat comfort pardon me, but the seat comfort is terrible. They sit straight up, there's zero thigh support, and Yeah, I would not advise doing 10-hour road trips in those back seats. It's not fun. Trust me. So since my voice has pretty much decided that this video is now over, I guess I'll end things here. Like I said, expect a final farewell video on the Fusion soon. I'll try and get up like a nighttime or rainy test drive or something on the Mustang. Same for the Range Rover. I haven't done a video on it in a long time. And same for the truck too. I just need to do a bunch of videos on the family cars. So yeah, I hope you guys have enjoyed this update video. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you next time.